Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 207.
207.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel. They handle all kinds of vacations, but especially we mostly talk about Disney. So Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, Alani, and more. And they will check for the best rates, the best offers for your vacation, and it costs nothing to utilize their service.
They do it all.
And personalized planning for free once you book. I used to do all of that when I was a travel agent for 6 years, and it's always nice to let others handle everything.
That's right. Best in the business. We'll let them handle it.
And the All Ears Net weekly newsletter. And I just want to say this is not only a free newsletter, but they give so many tips that can help you save money and just to get, especially around Walt Disney World, a little easier. A couple tidbits I learned from the newsletter this week because I do get it. The T-Rex at Disney Springs will be hosting a breakfast buffet with Santa and Mrs. Claus. And then you get exclusive shopping time at World of Disney. And there is now a per box handling fee at Disney Resorts if you buy from like Amazon and Garden Grocer. I did not know that.
I did not know any of that.
I can't know everything.
Yes,
I try.
I just learned right now. And this Mrs. Claus really seems to be getting around.
She's everywhere.
You'll see from watching the rest of our show. So anyway, be sure to subscribe to the allears.net newsletter.
This week we're starting at Disney's Hollywood Studios. This is a big show. I got back from Washington, D.C., and then we hit the ground running for almost a week. I'm glad to be back a little more normal and getting some sleep. But here we are at the Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam. Well, we're not yet at the dessert party.
Hold, I have a proposal. From here on in, we're just going to call it the Jingle Bam.
Okay,
while
that's
we're talking
easier
about it, because it's so hard to remember that whole title.
Like the tram driver called it Jingle Jam, Jingle Bam. Like It is so hard to remember. It is like the worst name ever for a show. It's like they should have just called it, if you're going to say Bam, Jingle Bam.
Well, Bam does come into play during the dessert party, and we'll see about that very soon.
More Bam probably during the dessert party.
And speaking of the party, we got there a little early, and here's a look at the area where you are dining right in front of the Chinese theater.
And I'm going to call it, it's actually a holiday party and not a dessert party because it's more than just desserts this time.
And they've officially changed the name on the website to a holiday party. So now it's officially the Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam Holiday Party.
And it's $69 per adult, $39 per child through December 17th, and then $79 per adult or $45 per child through December 31st. We did pay for it. Tax and gratuity are included, so that is the price. And we arrived. It says to arrive 15 minutes early, but if you arrive 15 minutes early, you're going to be at the back of the line. So we arrived at least a half hour early, and it was still a giant line. But it probably moved pretty quick.
Right. They say the party started at 5:30, and exactly 5:30, we walked in. We got that free, our first included drink anyway.
Yeah, that one was a little it was like a gingerbread drink. It was very sweet for me. And to say something's too sweet for me is very hard to do.
And you just saw the liquid nitro mousse, which was frozen and smashed there.
And that was the first thing I went for because it had no line.
That's right. And I thought that was actually pretty good. I enjoyed the mousse.
I did too. And then not only do you have the desserts, but when we booked it, we didn't realize they were actually going to have food items. And this is what, antipasta?
Antipasta, right? And there is a salad with cranberries, which was actually pretty good. Meatballs. I think you even had a good amount of the meatballs there.
I had a few meatballs. I thought those were very good. We were not expecting to have, I think we knew a day ahead of time there'd be food. So it was nice actually.
Nice
feeling
flatbread.
Like
the flatbread was really, I made a meatball sandwich out of the flatbread, so it was pretty good. And here are the typical desserts you would see at one of these type events.
I'm not sure what it is about Rice Krispie treats, but they seem to be at all of the events.
Well, they're very colorful.
They are colorful. And then you had, I believe this was like it's a key lime. And then this was a gingerbread item. Some items are, you'll see at almost every dessert party. And then there's little cupcakes. And I don't like those little folding things that go around them because I always end up making a mess. And I believe this is probably mine, 2 meatballs and some flatbread.
Yeah, that was I kind of liked having actual food. If you hadn't had dinner, this is better than sitting there for an hour having desserts and booze, if you know what I mean.
I totally agree. The food, we would call it the food component,
yes,
was a little better in some ways than other times.
As you could see, fully themed to Prep and Landing. The thing is, quite a few people had no idea what Prep and Landing was. I had people when I was doing this video looking at the decorations asking me, do you know them? Do you know who they are? And I tried to explain. So it's not a well-known thing to everybody.
Well, I have somebody who is a Disney fan who was like, do you know who they are? And I'm like, yes, but it's actually a great show if you haven't seen it. And then the VIP character, I was a little disappointed. We knew, again, a day ahead of time that it would be Goofy.
Santa Goofy.
Santa Goofy. We've seen Santa Goofy a lot. I was kind of hoping for maybe a Prep and Landing character.
But
I think that
it's probably
great.
for the best, actually, because nobody knows who they are.
That's not true.
Quite a few people seem to not know.
People know who they are, and once you see them on the Chinese theater, then you're like, oh, there they are. And here are the desserts again. We're looking back at them and the Prep and Landing decorations.
So while all this is going on, there's a Star Wars show that's happening kind of right outside where the dessert party is. And during the highlight of the show, if you will, a giant explosion, a bam, if you will, happens. And it kind of startles you. I think you got a little bit startled.
There was a couple of them. I was very startled. The lady behind me ended up coughing. Like, I probably wouldn't be eating at that time.
Well, how do you know, though?
I don't know.
You have to be aware.
During the show, be aware.
If you start hearing Star Wars stuff.
They should tell you. But
So let's move on to the drinks. The gingerbread martini, apple cinnamon cocktail, Bailey's, 4 different wines, 2 beers, and a Angry Orchard selection.
The gingerbread one, very sweet. The other one,
The Fireball?
very strong, like turpentine or something. So I wasn't really a fan of either of these.
The bartender said you had to like cinnamon.
I love cinnamon.
And it's a
I
hot
cook with cinnamon.
It's
I
a very
love
hot cinnamon.
Yes.
Not for everybody, obviously.
I had some white zin.
Yes, the white zin was good. I had a beer, and I did have both drinks, and I also didn't really care for either of those. Santa Goofy, I enjoyed Santa Goofy. Good to see him. I'm not quite sure is it Sven or is it somebody from
I don't know
Prep and even we are not experts at Prep and Landing.
I'll have to watch Prep and Landing again.
So here's some more nitrogen going on there, the nitrogen mousse. I enjoyed the whole process of that, so just wanted to show it fully. But now it's time for me to head over to get a good spot for the actual fireworks. Now, I left the party about 15 minutes early. It's an hour-long party.
And I said online that you kind of have to jingle bam, jingle slam your food down.
I like that.
And there's your spot, because I actually left a little later and I did not get this spot.
Right, you stayed right till the very end. You were in the back. Now, again, leaving 15 minutes early, I was the very last one to be on the rope. They have a rope there. In front of the rope are guests in wheelchairs and kids. Now, kids cannot have adults with them, but there's Disney security, Disney people to watch after the kids, make sure they're not jumping around. So how did this compare with your location, staying right to the end of the party?
Well, I wasn't quite at the end of the party. I wasn't the last guest, but what I did was I went really to the back of the viewing area just so that I had some room between me and then the guests who would be in front of me. Yeah. I don't like this I like the location, but I don't like that. It used to be with the dessert parties that you'd have tables and such and you'd be eating there, and then everybody was kind of spread out, so everybody had, I think, a reasonably good view. But with this, I think they just want to put so many more guests into that dessert party area that now into the viewing area. I mean, maybe it's double what it used to be.
It seems to me you still have the same stress as if you were to just go there, wait for an hour and a half in the regular area. You're still having to get there early, and this is no different.
Well, I didn't get there too early, so my view was not this good. I don't want to say I don't recommend this party as much as I have recommended parties in the past, and your mileage might vary. I wouldn't do it again, but we did like
Let's talk about the show. Yes, the show.
Really
the show actually grows on you. I don't think it's quite as good as the Galactic Star Wars show, but again, I thought this was a really fun. Look at the lasers are phenomenal, probably better than the Star Wars show.
I enjoy all of these projection shows that Disney has had, although the Mickey's Most Merriest Celebration for me were the best projections, plus guests could see it a lot easier. The problem, as opposed to, let's say, the Osborne Lights where like 10,000 guests probably could see them, is that you don't have that many guests with great sight lines.
Very limited quality viewing. This is probably my favorite part, the Nightmare Before Christmas. Mm-hmm. We just saw Sandy Claus, Jack Skellington, Oogie Boogie's about to make an appearance. How cool is that? And in a Christmas show at that, I guess it does fit the theme, though.
And I like that, there's no Frozen. So it was nice having Prep and Landing, which is a little less known than like Frozen or Cinderella.
A lot less known, apparently.
Don't say that, because I think, especially kids, I think, really know it. And we've seen Prep and Landing quite a bit over in the Premier Theater before it was knocked down. So I really thought, there's a decent amount of fireworks. I think that's the biggest guest complaint that I've heard is that there wasn't enough pyro.
Well, you have fire. Just when you mention that, there's actual fire going on here, and that's the Oogie Boogie scene. I will have to say, when you talk about pyro, you're really only having big fireworks at the very beginning and the finale. As a matter of fact, in this clip that we're showing you here, you will see every bit of fireworks that are shown during the whole show. And believe me, I cut this way, way down. So again, it's more of a projection, multimedia spectacular, not really a fireworks show.
I will say probably my favorite projection show of any is still Disney Dreams. We have not been to any of the Asia parks. Disney Dreams at Disneyland Paris, because you have so much going on, but you can also see it, from even far back down Main Street.
Well, here kind of the issue is you have these palm trees and also the staging for that Star Wars show really blocking a good chunk of the view. I mean, look at this right in the center of the screen there. There's nothing I can do.
Right,
but
and
you
this is supposed to be one of the best areas to see it, and it's blocked. I wish they could bring those, whatever that stage props are, I wish they could bring those down, because it would make it a lot more easy to see.
Right, and I guess it is time for the big finale, and lots of
in
the sky. Yeah, it's a great finale. I mean, look at that, the fireworks. It is a good show, and it certainly has grown on me. I look forward to going back and seeing the fireworks, or the projection show.
We had friends who were behind where this back of the Sorcerer's hat used to be, closer to the Chinese theater, and I would probably check it out from there next time.
And I forgot to mention, much snow happens towards the end of the show. You told me you really liked this show a lot. You liked it better than the Star Wars show.
I didn't really care. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, so, that's part of it. Now, this reminds me of, if you've ever been to Radiator Springs during the holidays,
Disneyland, yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of those tires.
And don't forget PhotoPass with the Jingle Bam logo, always available. Gaylord Palms. It's not Christmas for us until we visit Gaylord Palms for the holidays.
And that's exactly what I was going to say, because that is a totally true story. They have a new tree this year. It's 60 feet. They have a 6-minute light show. So if you're there for ice, especially if you go towards, let's say, the afternoon into the evening, I believe the first show is around 6 o'clock, and they have probably 2 to 3 per night. And now they have music and lights. I mean, this is way different than they had like last year. And I know you said you saw Santa in the rafters. And
we will be seeing Santa soon. Now, Santa does not come down from the rafters every day. That was a special occasion for the kickoff of the big ice celebration. And now we're going to see, this is another updated show for this year. Cirque Dreams.
Cirque Dreams UnWrapped was a show that started last year, replacing what they had previously. And this is a free show, if you're there for ice or for any other reason.
Right.
And they have this 2 to 3 times per day, and it's 25-minute show, and juggling aerial acts.
And if you get picked, there is audience participation too, as we see from our friend here.
Yes, Caitlin Deneen. She is from the Orlando Sentinel. I'm going to say she's much braver than I am. I would not be going up there.
Well, she does a fine job with it. Look at this. Quite the bell ringer.
It makes me laugh. I took so many pictures of her.
Quite the bell ringer. And of course, you have many different acts. As I say, you can come and see it's like Star Tours. You never know what acts you're going to see. Every show has a chance of being different. So you just never know.
So I look forward to, during the season, heading back here. I just want to say, this is a resort. This is one resort, and it has so much going for it during the holidays.
Now, this will not happen every day. Here comes Santa
himself. It happened one day.
That's right. Santa himself is coming down on a rope from the ceiling of the Gaylord Palms, the roof, which is pretty impressive.
In the atrium.
In the atrium, yes.
And,
it's very high if you've never been there.
I totally missed it. I was like sending out a tweet or something, and just
this is what you get
Santa just came down from the ceiling.
That's right. This is what you get for tweeting. You miss Santa himself. So anyway, that was quite the entrance from Mr. Claus.
And I was going to say, the Christmas tree is even a little bigger than last year, so it is absolutely stunning.
And here we go. 9 degrees of goodness. It is ice.
And it is a Charlie Brown Christmas. Ice is the original attraction. I was there the second year that they had it. It wasn't Charlie Brown back then. Every year is different. And back then you could have some shows in the atrium, but there wasn't as much going on at the resort as there is now. It really is. It can be a full day experience if you want it to be.
Well, this is my favorite version of ice, I believe, since Frosty.
Well, Frosty was terrific. I really love, I'm not always an IP person, but I really like stories from my childhood. and Frosty was one of them. And I hope eventually we'll get Santa Claus is coming to town.
Or a year without a Santa Claus.
That would be awesome.
With Cold Miser.
Like a Heat Miser.
Yes.
So those would be great. But we are both big fans of Charlie Brown.
Now we're going to talk about On the Block's Ice Bar. This is a little bonus. It's a slight upcharge, but you get to try some frozen cocktails in the 9-degree frozen tundra.
Right. Well, there's you get a couple smaller samples, which you can see on the right-hand side that he would fill up.
Two samples each.
Right. And then you get more of a larger drink, and that is, as he said, an upcharge. Also, I just want to say it is cold in there, so we do the hat, we do the gloves, we do the scarf, and double socks.
I mean, we're used to it. The very first time when I was recording this video, I was probably in there for maybe half an hour to 40 minutes, and I wasn't even cold. But I think the adrenaline of seeing it for the first time.
Well, I don't think I don't think it's only that, but when you have guests in there, I don't know. Like, supposedly, it actually is between a certain degrees and a certain degree. So sometimes it's a little warmer, and sometimes it's a little colder. And this time when we went through the last time, it felt really cold. So I went through it a little quicker.
Well, it was really nice of the Gaylord to have us in while the various production was going on. So we saw this from nothing, from blocks of ice being built in the finished product here.
Right. Well, the Schultz family was here the first time. We didn't meet them. They were also here for the finished product, but the first time when we saw, they had to kind of okay what the characters would look like.
Right, make sure the characters are all properly on model and all that. We're going to go down the ice slide. This was my best of the 3 times, the fastest ice slid. You have to make sure you sit correctly on your parka, so I was getting some good speed there.
I will say that once they brought in Alpine Rush Snow Tubing, which does that is an extra cost event, the ice slides seemed a little less exciting because those are so fast.
Well, you will see me do a very wild ride. Let's talk about the guys from Harbin, China here.
Well, they are showing, and I'm going to say they carve in a month 2 million pounds of ice. And I believe there's 36 carvers from Harbin, China. Some of them stay on and they do this frostbite factory. What you saw there was a Orlando United like the Pulse carving. So I thought that was a very nice
That is going to be
tribute.
so awesome when it's done. That'll be great.
I'm sure it's probably done already. It was beautiful. And but anyway, this is the end scene. It has been here since the very beginning. It is the nativity scene. It is it is the most popular, I believe,
It's
scene
the one
every
scene
year.
that is always exactly the same. Every year you can count on seeing the nativity.
And it is crystal clear ice. It takes crystal clear ice is actually the hardest to make. It takes 3 days.
Now, I kept the camera running. Watch how fast we fog up as we leave the 9 degrees of goodness into the Florida heat.
I was surprised that it wasn't as bad as it, for me, as it sometimes my stuff fogs up like really bad, but it wasn't too bad this time. And this is the Alpine Rush Snow Tubing. So once you have those 4 ice slides in ice, this is so fast. And I didn't even do it this time just because I had so much stuff on me.
I don't know how I got spinning around so much, but that was a fun ride. I quite enjoyed that. Oh, this is one of my favorite new elements. The Santa's, what is it? The
Santa's Snow Throw.
Yeah, Santa's Snow Throw.
And each element does cost money unless we say it's free. So this has a cost to it. But it was as we were in line, somebody was like, oh, this is really fun. And it was absolutely, I loved it.
And you see all the snow that's going on. If you hit certain targets, giant snow comes wafting out at you. So lots of things happen from hitting the targets.
When they mentioned they were going to do snowballs, I really didn't know what to expect. But it was a lot of fun, a lot more fun probably than it even looks. And you can even get like a platinum pass or a gold pass. So this element and others can be included in one price.
Breakfast with Charlie Brown. So much stuff going on. It was a very busy. I quite enjoyed this character breakfast, and it starts off with meeting Snoopy himself, although
Right.
we're going to see the other characters kind of sneaking in.
Well, Snoopy is here in front of his doghouse, and we have Charlie Brown Lucy, who will they actually meet at the breakfast
Yeah, I happened to
itself.
just catch them as they came out for the first time, so I couldn't resist just showing Mr. Brown and Lucy.
Now, this is one of the highlights, really, of the. I want to say there were a lot of highlights, but we would come back just to do this again. it was such a fun experience. Plus, they have a lot of good food here.
I really like the character interactions. The Snoopy was fantastic. I had a lot of fun talking with Charlie Brown and Lucy and everything. So, as you said, just a great character breakfast. And again, I don't want to repeat everything, but the food there is always so good.
Well, they even had the waffles, which have
We will
Charlie
see that.
Brown.
We
Oh, okay.
will indeed see that.
But they
soon.
have like make your own omelets. They have salmon. It actually is an upgraded breakfast from really most character breakfasts that I've ever been to, except maybe the Four Seasons. I would put them on par with the character breakfast.
And
there.
here we go right there. We have some salmon there, some scrambled eggs, but of course you have Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and Snoopy's Doghouse in waffle form.
I kind of want to go back already.
I told you. When you look at this, it makes you hungry and want to
Yes.
go and see the characters.
And there's Lucy. So we had both Lucy and Charlie Brown stopped once or twice to the table while we were there. It wasn't too busy. I'm not sure if officially were they officially doing the breakfast yet?
I don't know. I actually am not quite sure about that. But
So we had been invited by Gaylord Palms, but again, this is something that when I heard about it, I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna go no matter what.
Well, it's kind of funny. I ran into Charlie Brown here, and I told him how I really liked his waffle, but questioned, why does Lucy not have a waffle? Snoopy has one. Charlie Brown. I mentioned that to Lucy as well. So she said she's gonna. Well, she didn't say,
I
but
missed that.
she gestured that.
I don't usually talk to the
Right.
characters
She
like
will
Jeff
talk
does.
she will talk to the chef. We need a Lucy waffle
And they don't
as well.
talk back to you.
And we've been going by so quick, but we
We
just saw
had
Santa
Santa
Claus.
Claus.
You could meet Santa Claus here.
They also
and,
have a
yes, right?
gingerbread decorating corner where you can get these gingerbread, and there's also a sugar cookies. And then
Look at it! What a tremendous job I did.
Yeah, I was going to
so
say that's
hard,
definitely yours.
very hard work there. And here comes Cinnamon. No, I believe in a second, Cinnamon, the gingerbread lady. By the way, it's Nutmeg's girlfriend. Will be
Is that
joining
what they
us.
said?
That's what they told. There she is right now.
It used to be Gingy here.
Yes.
It used to be, they used to have the Shrek theme, the DreamWorks theme.
Correct.
And then they brought in Nutmeg, a year or two ago?
We saw Nutmeg for a couple years, and this is the first time I have ever seen
girl,
Cinnamon,
yes.
Nutmeg's girlfriend.
And she was very lively. We were the only guests in here. It wasn't that busy because it was
it was a
really
preview.
the
It was
first
basically
day.
more of a preview.
Well, it was the first day of ice. It wasn't too busy yet. Pretty soon, ice is going to be packed. Like this weekend with Thanksgiving and all, it's going to be packed.
And this is the last component we're going to talk about in this segment. It's a storytelling show with Mrs. Claus and the elf.
Now, it's called Mrs. Claus's Christmas Traditions, and it's a story time, like a sing-along. It does cost extra, and you can go to the Gaylord Palms site and see what everything costs.
Those cookies are so good, and they're very hot.
Yes, they're actually like straight from the oven. They were excellent, and they give you milk, and you can kind of sing along with Mrs. Claus. She sings. She's very talented, and we had a really good time with that.
I always love Gaylord Palms. Can't wait to come back for more holiday goodness. Now we're going to move on, though. Legoland, Florida, having a couple of special events.
Well, we did a lot this week.
It was a very busy week.
A lot of different things. We did two... Legoland invited us for two events, two of their upgrades for Christmas Spectacular. And I believe the upgrades start even earlier than the official Christmas Spectacular, maybe this weekend. So the first one is to enjoy a breakfast of seasonal treats while meeting Lego Santa and friends, which included
Mrs. Claus.
Mrs.
Once
Claus,
again,
yes.
Mrs. Claus makes an appearance.
And this is in the historic Magnolia Mansion. From what I remember, it's a 1941 mansion.
Beautiful. Look at how gorgeous that is inside. I'd never been in there, so that was added bonus.
I believe their office is upstairs, and that's why we don't go upstairs, but I'm sure it's beautiful up there as
Here's
well.
a Buddy. Is he supposed to be an elf?
I think it's, yes.
It's a very tall elf Buddy.
Isn't it the thing around his
Yeah, I
neck
believe
there, I
that
believe.
signifies elf. We enjoyed hanging out with all those characters.
So what's included with this is a Lego ornament per family, a printed photo, a Lego mini figure for each child, and it goes for an hour, 9 to 10 a.m. on, I don't know if it's every day. I don't think it's necessarily every day. And it's $35 per person. And it's not too many kids, and you get a lot of character time. And I thought this was, I really enjoy the characters, so it was fun to meet the different Lego characters.
And I like you get an actual picture. Did you mention that? You get
Yes,
a printed photo,
and
too.
it was a nice photo. If you were going to buy a photo like that, it would be like $20, really anywhere else. So I thought that was a nice value as well.
So it was so much fun. You know, we do enjoy the character breakfast that anybody who watches this show would know. And this was a great one. And there's also playtime with the actual Lego characters themselves.
And I did ask if this was the usual experience that a regular guest would receive. We were invited as media, and sometimes you get like bonuses or
It was a preview.
Right, it was a preview for us, and it is, we were told exactly the same, just as the Lego Santa's Christmas workshop that we'll show it is exactly the same.
I am very impressed by the toy soldier with his little move there. That's quite talent.
The kids really enjoyed it. Plus, kids could send or adults could send a letter to Santa Claus.
Oh, here's that first picture that I talked about earlier, nicely displayed there. Plus, as you mentioned, you can write a letter to Santa Claus, and even though we're not kids, we did indeed do that. And I'm about to deliver it right to Mr. Claus's mailbox,
even though
the North Pole.
Even though Mr. Claus had been there, so there's no need for the North Pole.
I should have just given it to
Yes,
Mr. Claus.
Look, there he is. And Lego Santa's Christmas Workshop. This is him and the toy soldier meeting.
All right, so give me the rundown of what's included in this package.
Well, this one, you get to make a model with a master model builder, and ours was Santa Claus, can I say that? Each family receives a printed photo, hot chocolate and cookies. You can see the cookies here.
Cookies were really good.
And so I mentioned we made the Santa ornament. It's $35 per person, and this was really a fun one. And I think this one's going to fill up very quickly because with the master model builders, if you're staying at the Legoland Hotel, kids can build with a master model builder. If you're an ambassador, and they pay a lot of money to be an ambassador, then you get to do that. But, you know, on a day-to-day basis, that's not something a regular guest can do.
I tell you, I loved it.
We had a
Absolutely
great
loved it.
time.
I want to do this more often. I love building these models. And, I was told the model that we got, the little Santa that you're going to see, only available if you do this class. You can't buy it. Only at this class can you get it.
I hadn't even looked online to see if that was the case, but
You don't
usually,
believe
oh,
that
no,
when
I
they
don't
told
wanna
us
say, I don't want
this?
to say that. No, I don't know if other Lego parks maybe have it or not.
Well, regardless, it was a lot of fun. And you did much, much better this time than the last time we tried to build something.
Well, I said I'm rubbish at it.
Rubbish.
Yes,
Are you
just
British? British
because
now?
I watch a lot of British TV, I
Uh-huh.
say I'm rubbish. And I am, especially when it's something like with Santa. Santa's a lot easier than, let's say, a Millennium Falcon, because I don't know much about spaceships, and trying to build something I don't know much about is impossible, but Santa was a little easier.
I loved it. Santa, so much fun. Highly recommended. I would absolutely want to do more of these builds. And the whole
I totally
thing.
agree.
The picture was great. We didn't show that, but they gave us a nice picture. And it was just a very relaxing and fun event.
Well, you said it was the morning we needed, the day we needed.
So now we're going to go jump ahead. It was the D23 Destination D, and they debuted this new bus. It's called the Sorcerer class, and it's a prototype bus. There's a lot of lights and sounds and things going on. Personally, if it's the end of a long day of being at the park, not so sure that I want to be subjected to this. But
Well, it
perhaps
is only a prototype, and they said that probably it may never come into production.
Right.
It's cute. It's cute to see. It said it was created to explore new ways to differentiate the Disney transport experience. For me, it's a little loud. As far as, again, the end of the day, you're like just wanting to be in peace.
maybe on the way, though, we get you all pumped
Maybe.
up, lighting off all these lights and things.
But, all those lights, like there are people with health issues that may not be able to deal with that type of lights. So for me, it's cute. It was nice
maybe
to sit
you
in
can
there.
rent it. You can rent the bus, perhaps.
Like as somebody said, a party.
$600,
Somebody said as a party bus or something.
Yeah, party bus. There you go.
So I don't know, but it was fun to see it. But it isn't something that I necessarily would want to be sitting in from park to park. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Well, so much for the Sorcerer's class bus. At least
it's cute. It has music and lights.
It's quite loud, actually.
But it really is. It's like a discotheque.
It's the disco bus.
I'm not into discos.
Anyway, much more exciting here is Moana. We got to actually meet Moana for the very first time. This was at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. We were there for a special event, and we had such a good time. We had seen the film the night before, and we both really enjoyed the film. I loved it.
I just want to say, Amanda Tinney from Where's Amanda, the website, invited us to the event.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yes. And I think it was for like the social media moms. So she was able to invite us also. And so it was really fun to see Moana. She's at Disney's Hollywood Studios as of today, we are talking.
Thanksgiving Eve is when we're recording this.
But she had not been meeting except at the Polynesian on a kind of a test basis, right?
But she is very talented also, doing the hula here. And all I could say about the movie is, and you'll know when you go see it, you'll agree with me, I'm sure, more Pua. We need more Pua. I loved Pua. And there's Jared Bush to be a screenwriter.
I've interviewed him several times. You've interviewed him once as well. He's hilarious if you ever get to see him. Anybody who was at D23 and saw his talk will know how very funny he is. He always makes me laugh.
So if you want to see Moana, head to Disney's Hollywood Studios right now in
and
the Walt
by Moana,
Disney area.
We're talking about the character and not the movie.
Oh, yes, of course. To meet and greet with Moana, head to One Man's Dream, currently from park open to close, so it's a lot of time to see her.
Yes, and I just want to mention about Jared Bush. He also was a screenwriter and the co-director on Zootopia. So this is his second big movie this year.
Two big films.
Yes, and okay, next we're heading to Disney Springs. This is our last segment, Frontera Cocina. I used to always call it Cocina because to me that's the way it looks, but it's Frontera Cocina. This is one of the new restaurants, the newer restaurants at Disney Springs. There's like 1,000 new restaurants, and it's easy for us to overlook one, and I'm glad we were invited here, and now this will be on our rotation.
Well, I should mention, you see all these decorations.
This isn't Christmas.
It was the Day of the Dead. It's a perfect Christmas theme. We were there on the Day of the Dead, which is November 1st.
Well, they actually had 2 days that they were celebrating it. They weren't really celebrating it with food and drinks per se, although that's what we did. We ate there, and
if you put a Santa hat on this gentleman here, it would be perfectly themed.
Oh, for today.
That's right.
I mean, Christmas started just days after this, like a day later.
So these are very unique drinks. Let's talk about them.
Well, to the right is a Lucy. It has fresh carrot juice and orange liqueur and fresh lime. I'm not saying all the ingredients in every drink, but that gives you an idea.
Very unique.
And there is the Frontera margarita that is in the center. However, if you go to the outdoor window, there is a blood orange margarita that I had, which was absolutely fantastic. Anything that's blood orange in it is what I like to have. I'm assuming you could ask for it inside, but I'm not sure. So,
right.
But it's definitely on the outside window. And then to the left is a Play with Fire, which is hibiscus infused Avion Blanco, I hope I'm saying that right, tequila, and then fresh lime juice. And
I really liked that Play with Fire, by the way. It had a kick, a little spice to it.
Well, the blood orange margarita was my favorite. I liked them all, but that would be my favorite.
So what else do we know about the restaurant?
Well, it's by Chef Rick Bayless. You can see him with Mickey Mouse here. This is an official, probably a Disney photo, but from Frontera Cocina. He is a 6-time award winner, James Beard Foundation. And there are many James Beard Award, there's so many words in there, yes. Foundation winners at Disney Springs now. I believe Chef Art Smith, who is one of the newest chefs here as well.
Wow, Disney Springs really has top quality places now.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many restaurants at Disney Springs, and we had overlooked Frontera Cocina just because, again, you can't get to them all.
So let's talk about this guac. We are big fans of guac. This is their classic guac and chips. It was tremendous.
And you also had a different guac, like an atomic guac.
Yes, the atomic one had, you'll see a picture of, or a little video clip of that soon, and it had some real spice to it. It was quite atomic, but I think I preferred the classic, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I don't really eat overly spicy items, but I really like the guac and chips. But we're going to start looking at some entrees, and this is called the chicken mole. The chicken mole is not on the menu. It was a special that day, and it could be a special still. And this was absolutely fantastic.
Tremendous. One of my favorite items we had that day.
And this is the carnitas, which is slow-cooked pork shoulder with garlic and lime. I don't really eat pork too much, but Jeff really enjoyed it.
It was very good. We went to a Mexican restaurant when we were in California this summer, which was, a very authentic place, been there forever, and it really reminded me of that.
And the carne asada, this is a marinated black Angus steak with red chili. This was one of the best pieces of beef I've eaten in the recent times. So I just thought it was excellent. It's huge.
Yeah, we
it's
had
a huge
about
portion.
two or three meals afterwards. I'm
I
glad
know.
we took it home.
It was certainly worth the price point. And I'm glad now that Frontera Cocina is in our restaurant rotation at Disney Springs. There's so many great restaurants here, but I don't want to miss out on going here again.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to get back. And believe it or not, I don't believe it, but that is another show.
That's another show. It was a long one.
We want to thank our sponsors, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel, the best in the business.
And allears.net newsletter. Definitely check them out. It's a free newsletter, and you can sign up. Just go to www.allears.net.
We'll mention that or show that in the show notes. Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. Have a great week. Merry Christmas.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Don't say
Christmas
pre-Thanksgiving. That's right. Happy
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving.
tomorrow.
And we'll see everyone next week. Have a great week.
Have a great week.